So, a very good afternoon to one and all present here for the session. Today, we have with us someone who truly understands the selling, that selling is not about like pushing products, it's about shaping perception, building trust, and mastering the art of influence. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Garima Nagpal, a seasoned sales and business leader with over 14 years of experience in driving growth, building high performing teams, and creating customer centric strategies that deliver real results. Garima ma'am does not just talk about sales. She brings battlefield experience from the front lines of business development, negotiation, and strategic execution. Your journey reflects one of the powerful truths, ma'am. Influence is the currency of success, whether you're closing a deal, leading a team, or building a brand. So today, I think with you, we will be learning the art of selling, not which is, I believe it's not just a skill, but it's a mindset. This session that will challenge, of course, not only students how they think, I think for us also, and will make us think about persuasion, communication, and value creation. So I think this is for the students who've joined us, the students fraternity, that you must get ready to learn how influence works, how trust is built, and how selling, if it's done right, becomes an art. So please welcome Ms. Garima Nagpal. The forum is all yours, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Kudra. Thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that I'm able to see such a, so many students who are looking forward to excel in their professional journey, being part of this session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the session. I'm looking forward to have a conversation. I believe right now we have a couple of them. Should we
Yes.
wait more 2 minutes to see if we have more attendance or?
We can wait. Otherwise, I think meanwhile, you can start with a brief introduction and we can start from there on. Not a problem. Meanwhile, they keep on joining.
All right, perfect. So here I am. I am Garima Nagpal. I was working with Microsoft for past 10 years. Before working with Microsoft, I started my journey as a lecturer. That's a itself is a huge transition from being a lecturer, coming into a journey where I was turning into a seller, where I was closing an opportunity with enterprise customers, with corporate customers, with government customers. That's how the shift came along with my I think career journey, the transformation I've been focusing upon. That's how it was. But yes, here I am to share the insights, how best I can help you to support on your journey, on your career path, because this transformation, this whole journey begins with you. How do you want to begin to take this on a transformation journey altogether, right? So here I am to evaluate and understand what are your expectations towards this session. So this session is aligned towards how you can create influence across your interviews, during your networking motions, during your sales closure, events, whatever it is. How do you take it forward? So I'm sharing my presentation slide with you so that you can go through, and there I'll begin with the understanding how I started my journey and what is the progression cycle, and how it got shift, how it brings shift towards the changes towards my career journey. Allow me to share my screen, and please confirm if you're able to see the screen once.
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
It's visible.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So I'm looking forward to understand. Kutul, by any chance, I can see the faces of these audience, or it's like we have in Teams or we have in Google.
So we won't be able to see them. I think if there are any questions that you ask, they'll be only able to answer on the chat box. So that's how it is. Yeah.
Okay, because we are used to that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I completely understand. But you can give us, you can say the question and I can read out the responses from the students that I'm getting.
all right, not a problem. Okay, so I'm glad that you can able to see the presentation. So here we are to understand what is influence is all about. Influence is basically how do you want to create the the vision how do you want to build your vision in the eyes of others? That's how the influence is. How do you want to take it further? If you believe that that your data is basically, see, we are here to create the impact upon the brains of other people, right? And that impact itself will be, of course, capturing the attention. How will you be able to capture the attention? It's not about the visual presence, it's not about being present in the room, it's about how you communicate with the audience, how do you able to proceed with the trustworthiness and show the dominant trait of yourself, and follow that with the competence that builds your influence towards the your career journey, right? So here I am. I'm sure you might have built a thought process when you join this conversation, that I'm coming across this conversation, joining the webinar, wherein I'm able to hear a person who's coming from Microsoft. That's not a small mindset. That's a neuroscience. You build a you know a thought process in your brain that this person is going to help me to understand how I can be able to create that space around myself, which help me to grow in my career journey as well as in my professional journey on a larger scale, right? So this is the neuroscience. You have built that psychological impact in your brain that this person is going to help me on the understanding, because she is coming from a journey wherein she had herself her challenges. My journey was not a simple one. My journey, I'm coming from a very humble background. I was a teacher, I was a lecturer. I started my career journey from a lecturership, and that's how it was. It was really strange. People believe that, Garima, you started your journey from a lecturership and then you ended up in journey being an Asia sales leader. I grown up towards from a lecturership to a Asia sales leader, from no connection, from no referrals, and from no shortcuts. It's all just determination that I want to see. The determination was I want to see the technology shift in education. That was the only one determination I was having in my mind, that how I can, being a lecturer, being into education technology, how I can improve the education system or the education domain by involving technology. That's the only vision behind my growth that you guys see in this journey. And this I was able to create. I was able to create the shift among the audience with whom I was giving interview, with whom I was networking, with whom I was meeting across. That's the only, they were able to identify that this girl is so passionate about one small thing. It looks small at that point of time. How education can be improved through technology. There are only couple of companies at that point of time in 2006, 2000. Microsoft, Google, and Apple was there, but it was on device end. But Microsoft, Google, IBM, these were, and of course your this thing, uh, Hathaway was there also. So, but my vision is to how this Microsoft or Google can impact. So I started learning. I started creating myself a I should say, there's a journal I was creating for myself, wherein I was dedicatedly investing my time to understand what are the tools of Microsoft, what are the tools of Google, what are the tools of IBM we can adopt and improve the education, and what are the lacunas are existing among Microsoft, Google, and IBM, how best they can improve their current infrastructure, current IT infrastructure, and build something which is substantial for education sector. That's the only thing. And that has helped me to create the conversations, which was really impactful. That has helped me to build an association among the leadership, that yes, this girl is coming with no technical education. She is not having nothing to do with technical education. She is absolutely a person who is educationist, and she wants to improve the education. That's all. And for that cause, she's working hard to understand how technology is giving, or how technology is bringing shift in that space. So my powerful, because see, if you're not able to pitch yourself powerfully, you're not able to sell yourself. That's it. If you're not clear with your vision, if you're not clear with your mindset, that what you want, how you want, and who are the stakeholders going to impact your want, then you'll not be able to create your own pitch. First, you have to be confident what you want. If you know what you want, how and why, you will build yourself. Once you build your how and why, it will automatically, you have a very strong pitch which impact the brains of the people, right? So before people invest in you, before people hear you, you have to be, aligned towards your own mindset, own thought. What I want, that's the major and most important part of it. Then influence, creating influence through your what I want is basically is learnable. You The way I learned, my vision was only how I can improve education through technology. I learned about it, I worked around it, I created my own journey towards how this technology is evolving towards education space, how this technology can help me to build an ecosystem among educationists that help them to grow in their journey, right? So that's how I build my influence. It's learnable. You can any If I can do, anybody can do. I'm not a technical person. I'm nowhere associated with technical. Although I'm a science graduate, I was into education space, but I can see the struggle of students. I can see the struggles of educationists, and that's what the push me out. Why they are struggling, despite we have a technology around it, despite we have all the things which we have, why they are struggling so much. And then on top of it, the credibility was built, that yes, this girl is coming forward with a mindset, with a idea, a thought, that she want to improve the education with the technology, and for that she's working towards it. That's how credibility was built, right? And then, I started pitching myself. I created my first impression. My first impression was very strange. When I was into Educom solutions, I was doing research work on top of this, that how technology can be improved the education ecosystem. And that's where I met the first person from Microsoft. And that first meeting, after that research work, my research work is still in Microsoft. It's still lying there in Microsoft. So my after the first meeting, they were so thrilled that this woman, this lady, is so much aligned towards bringing a change in the whole education ecosystem by the technology. And that's where they were curious. And for your all knowledge, I didn't get hired. So they hired me for the this thing, for a contingent staff. I was not directly hired as a full-time employee. I worked 1 year as a contingent staff. I learned the ecosystem. I learned the business. I learned the whole ecosystem, and then I built my confident voice. It was not just like that. I worked 1 year as a contingent staff in Microsoft, and that's where I got that this is what I want in education. This is what, and that's how this influence been ingrained in myself, that I want to build that shift. Once I built the confident voice, the room was hearing me out. Everybody was hearing me out, that she is coming from a substantial study. She is coming from a substantial learnings, what she has gained out of her own research. Let's give her room to listen out her. That's helped me to build my credibility, that she is not faking around. She is not, talking just on air. She's having evidences. She's having a pain points what students or learners or educationists are going through, right? And that's how it built my credibility among the people, and that's what has impacted my resume. The whole 1 year has impacted my resume. Why I could stand out? Because my resume was talking the actual scenario on the field, which, of course, you can tell n numbers of things in the resume. And JD is not what is written on the web page. JD is beyond that. If you can absorb the understanding what is behind the JD, that's where you stand out, right? JD is just a few liners for you. It's actually a beyond, your task is beyond that. Once you build beyond that, the whole paradigm shift will be there in your conversations, in your speech, in your documentation, whatever you put it across in front of leadership. It's altogether a different document altogether, right? Then you have, how do you persuade? How do you persuade what you're saying? See, persuasion can be, some people say that persuasion is bringing one person towards the vision of yours, right? How do you bring, suppose I have to give a speech on Microsoft, how Microsoft can bring education space into a reliable industry. That point of time, Microsoft was not focusing on education as an industry. That was just education. That point, right now at this stage, education is growing on, and major companies are focusing on education space. But that point of time, I have to bring them to say yes, that yes, these are the changes we require in education space from the technology perspective. And that's how we build a program specifically during my tenure as a full-time employee in Microsoft, which was called Microsoft Advantage Program. It was created through me, and I think Kudrat might be knowing that one of the university was also part of Microsoft Advantage Program. So it was all created because we wanted to bring shift among universities, colleges, and institutions through technology. And that's how it become. Still, people knows even nowadays, if you see Google has also their Microsoft Google Advantage Program. It is ED Vantage Program, right? So that's how the personal brand is built. The Garima is nowhere coming from a fluke. She is coming from a substantial reason, and she has a strong story behind it. That's how I build my first impression. Then, of course, how do you build your strong first impression? You might have been building up a strong impression across your teachers, your professors, right? So how do you take it further? May I have, like, what strategy you choose to build your first impression?
Hearing you out, ma'am, the first, the story about yourself. I often get this question from my students, wherein, majority of them feel that they're introvert, so they won't be able to sell. And however, I tell them that, introvertness or extrovertness or anything like that is not equal to selling, right? It's
Right.
about, talking about yourself, which brings me to a good question, and which also students keep asking me, is that, what is an elevator pitch? Like, first of all, what is an elevator pitch, and how can I be good at it so that I'm able to sell myself through an elevator pitch?
Wonderful question, Kudrat. First of all, elevator pitch, first you have to understand, do you understand yourself? Elevator pitch is what? You have to elevate yourself, right? You have to elevate yourself towards across.
Yeah.
So first they have to understand themselves. Do they understand themselves? Do they understand what they want? That's what I started with. What you want actually brings your elevator pitch. That's how I build my elevator pitch. What I want, where I want to go ahead, where I see myself 10 years from now. That's, if you are clear with these pointers, right? You can build your, whether you are introvert, because see, being an introvert or being an extrovert, these are all part of our, psychology. It's a human trait. We all are into that journey, right? So if you are extrovert or if you are introvert, that will help being in, because if you as far as I understand, in Microsoft we have a couple of introvert leaders out there, and they are leaders. They know what they are saying and how they should say that. You need not have to be extrovert to speak out loud. No, you don't need that. You need people to hear you, understand you, and absorb what you are saying. For that, you need not have to be extrovert. For that, you should be able to articulate what you believe in. That's it. That's it. You don't require any extra stuff or extra, jingles around your communication. Nothing is required. Believe your communication, believe what you want to speak, and articulate that clearly. That's all. It's done. That's how the elevator pitch, that's how the leadership skills, that's how being an extrovert or introvert, it it doesn't matter. I understand extrovert may be good at networking at some level, but there are people who are listening out to you. But once, When you cannot come out of your cocoon and you're being into introvert, that doesn't mean that you are introverts are not in the cocoons. They know what they want, but they are not able to put it out in the words. So you have to build that. How, if I want to speak 10 words, what are those 10 words? What those 10 impactful words are. That's it. I need not have to speak 100 words. नहीं बोला जा रहा 100 words, छोड़ दो, leave it. It's okay. क्यों बोलना 100 words यार? Why do you want to speak 100 words when you can articulate the same thing in 10 words? Right? Success doesn't lie. Success is not, whether you are extrovert or introvert. Success lies behind the fact that you are able to put your thought clearly in front of leadership, and they are able to understand the fact behind your point. That's it. Finish. Nothing more than that. I hope, Kudrat, I answer your
Yes,
question.
absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I think you can continue. We'll start getting questions. Of course, there are a few questions that I have. One question, basically, which I want to take up is that majority of the audience is Gen Zs today. And, we really pester on storytelling, right? That, you should be able to tell your story in a way. So now they are confused, saying that, is storytelling important or is selling important?
I'm like, this question is so beautifully asked. Storytelling is important, or selling is important. If you are a good storyteller, you are a good seller. That's it. Once you are able to put your thing clearly in a way. So see, storytelling is what you have to understand what your audience want to listen. If you are able to put it across your audience in a well structured manner, you're done. You sold your stuff. You need not have to be calling them, chasing them. No, you just have to ensure that you structure your conversation in such a way that you are able to address your audience in a manner the way they want to hear you. That's your storytelling, and simultaneously it's selling. If you know storytelling, you are selling. If you are selling, you're not storytelling. If you're a good seller, you cannot be a storyteller. But if you're a storyteller, then you can be a good seller. So there is a change, right? So it's like, if you are a good seller, so if you see my journey, I was a lecturer, I was a teacher, I was a storyteller. I started my journey as a storyteller. Lecturership is what? You have to build a complete story to make sure the student understand stuff. They understand the whole chapter in a proper and in a structured way, right? That's a storytelling. When you align points to points in a structured manner, this is a storytelling, right? So that's how selling happens. But if you're a seller, you cannot be a storyteller, because that can push people aside. Oh, she's pushing me to buy something which I don't want. But when you align the want with the theory of understanding that this is required, I don't want it, it's an important stuff for my organization, I require it, it's automatically selling. It's unintentional selling. You're not intentionally selling that. You're just describing the requirements among the audience. That's all. Right. So I'll move ahead with my presentation further. If in case Kudra any question or Harshit any questions are there, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. Right. Building strong first impressions. So I closed my enterprise. So coming from a lecturership to a place where education was an important part of it. Then I moved towards enterprise business. How I moved towards enterprise business was basically when they were able to see that I'm so determined towards my mission. And they were able, the first enterprise customer I got was UK education industry. I was into part of EMEA, Europe and Middle East, Africa was there. And I was I got my first customer was UK education, and there I was able to close my enterprise deal worth 60 million US dollars. I didn't know anything about technology. I didn't know anything about UK. I didn't know anything about UK education. It's all how I build the understanding, my first impression, my body language. See, that's what just now Kudrat asked, right? People focus on if I am able to communicate, if I'm able to put it across the words properly. Your body language speaks higher than your words. If you are welcoming in your presence, when if you are, if you're owning the body positivity in your walk, in your talk, people love to have conversation with you, right? Words come much later. First they see you. First eyes to eyes reflection happens, right? Words come much later. Then just a hello tone is enough to build that connection. Once they identify that hello tone is warm, is hold with a lot of warmth, they are there to listen those words which for which you are preparing for so long, right? But the first part, the first most important part is how do you take it further with your body language. Then of course, did you read the room? Did you get a chance to read the room, how the room looks like? Are these people by any chance you worked around? Have you gone through their LinkedIn profile? Did you do some research on top of this before coming into in opportunity or interview or any networking event? Of course, when you get into interview, I'm sure you all must be asking who is the interview, who is going to take the interview, right? You must be asking the name of the interviewer. How many of you have gone through LinkedIn profile and checked their LinkedIn profile, did some research on their publishing articles on or in their latest post, what they have posted around it? By any chance, have anybody done that? I'm curious on that. So that's what I'm asking. Because I cannot hear anyone. So I think you may have to help me here.
Garima, they won't be able to talk,
Oh, oh,
so
I'm
they can
sorry.
only write in the chat box. So yeah,
You have to understand that you have to read the room before you appear for an interview. You have to understand the stakeholders with whom you want to have a communication, with whom you want to have a conversation. Of course, build 30-second who am I. That's what we just now me and Kudrat had a word, right? Who am I? Make it sound like a natural. Don't rehearse it. Don't make it superficial. Make it actually honest conversation of yours. Who are you? What you want? How you want your life to be structured, right? That's you. That's how you're gonna build your first impression, right? Of course. And dress apart. I'm just give you a thought, right? I'm playing with the neuro spatial spaces right now. If you see your mom or anybody around at home wearing apron, what do you think? You automatically think that she's going in a kitchen to cook a food, right? Why apron is aligned with the thought process? We can think she can paint, right? We can think she can cut vegetables. We can think she can go ahead and doing some wallpaper art, anything, right? But why cooking? Because we've been in tune in that structure. It's there in our headshot. So the moment you are appearing for an interview or the moment you are going for a networking event, please dress appropriately so that they can accept your welcoming. They can welcoming you towards your, you know, with the looks of yours and things are like that, right? So, and just out of science, I'm saying the people who talk slow, the people who stand tall, the people who give respect to people around them, whether whatever caste, creed, whatever it is, right? So the more respectful towards everyone around you, you were able to build authenticity in your posture, in your aura, in your presence, right? So ensure you have that. Then, of course, communication with confidence. I'm sure you must be aware of the 3 C's of communication: clarity, conviction, and connection. How this clarity, conviction, and connection helps you. May I understand that what is that correct? Like, of course, you cannot talk, so I'm sorry. I forgot that I'm not on Teams. So basically, you have to understand that with the communication, confident. See, if you raise your voice, that's not a confidence. Confidence comes with the willingness to say what you exactly mean, and that too without apology. That's what communication is. When you are authentic towards your own words, when you are willing to say exactly what you believe in without any apology, without feeling any sorry about it, that's what the communication, that's what the clarity of communication is, right? And to my understanding, whatever I've learned in my whole career journey right now, in the 14 years, 15 years, the more clear communicator you are, the more power you hold. And the more power you hold, the less cognitive load, the pressure on the brain you'll give to people. And the less pressure you give to people, the easy understanding will come upon. It's a sequence, that's all. Clearest communicator hold the room. He is the most powerful communicator in the room. He eliminates the pressure on the brain. Once he eliminates the pressure on the brain, he able to get the idea consumed by the listener. That's it. All done. That's what the clarity is all about. Clarity is not speaking at the loud voice, or clarity is not about the charisma or the energy or expertise. No. Introvert, extrovert, anybody can have that clarity in the communication just by putting your words straight out there. That's all. Right? So, you might have heard one of the famous uh, stock market god, I should say. He's a god to me, actually. Warren Buffett, right? So if you see, Warren Buffett publish his annual Berkshire Hathaway letters every year, right? And do you know by any chance that he ensures that this my Berkshire Hathaway annual letter should be read by my sisters who are intelligent but not financially understanding moments. If they can understand, it's clear enough. It's easy to understand. That's how Warren Buffett built his annual Berkshire Hathaway letter in that simple language. He's extrovert. He's a big shot guy. He knows what he's doing. He can use complicated words. He can use a lot of vocabulary, but he's not. Why? To build command. The person who's able to articulate the words clearly in a simple language build command on the room. And please go ahead and read his annual Berkshire Hathaway letters. They are very informative letters towards your investing journey. I'm sure you might, couple of you might be investing in stock market also. I recommend you to go ahead and read that as well. So that's the only thing you want to understand on the clarity part, right? So next come your conviction. Conviction is like basically how do you, so see, just now Kudrat asked storyteller and a seller, right? You cannot sell if you don't believe in anything. You cannot tell a story if it is not coming from your inner end. If you believe in a story, why Cinderella is such a famous story? Why, there's so many famous stories right there? Because those stories has great influence on our mind that comes with a conviction, right? So That's how the you know, I think we are on time, Harshit. We are not extending the time. I'm still on slide second. I have to move it fast.
Yes,
I
we have time. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, we have to move fast. All right. So then next is connection. How do you communicate to the people? How do you make feel people understand? If you make people understand in the room, you are asking insightful questions, demonstrating understanding, building the speaker's self esteem. You're good in conversation. That's all. You just have to be collaborative towards your interaction, not interrogative, of course. That's that's where you have to refrain yourself. The communication should be collaborative, and it should be, aligning with the understanding of the room. That's all. That's the only thing which will correction in the this thing. So I had my own interviews, I had networking events, I went to a couple of other countries internationally. I traveled a couple of other international countries. In my leadership meetings, handling rejection, these three thumb rule have helped me everywhere, and this will going to help you as well. So build a clarity on your conversation, whatever you're talking. Build, you need not have to have complex vocabulary, you need not have to have loud voice, you need not have to have any doubt in your conversation. If you believe yourself, if you put your words in a structured manner which is able to put a sense towards a listener, you're good to go. That's it. Not much then. One second. Then, of course, developing professional credibility, expertise, track record, and integrity. Credibility is nothing, is basically how do you want to go ahead and build your credibility. Your integrity is your credibility. Credibility is not a feeling, it's a calculated asset you build over time. It destroy in a minute, but it take lot of time to get built up. So please be conscious on your credibility, compound it deliberately, ensure your highest leverage. You ensure you leverage your highest skills and grow on your credible records, because that will help you to build your, you know, influence among the people. Because as far as I believe, the more credible you are, the better influence you have on your people. People can trust you, and when people can trust you, they can give you the things which you cannot even imagine. Also, they can ask you to join their projects. They can ask you to take, they can ask you to come over their company. They can ask you for networking events. They can ask you to be a co-founder or founder. That's how it is. If you see myself, I worked with Microsoft, then I worked with Asia Leader. Now I'm working as a founder in a stealth mode. Why on a stealth mode? Because this company for which I'm working as a founder, going forward, I'll be a co-founder. This company is working on a very much in depth on a neuroscience. And why it is stealth mode? Because we don't want right now the competitor to know about us. It's a stealth mode. That's why it is stealth mode. Eventually, once we are built up with a more constructive structure, we'll come up with the open name of the company. That's how the credibility is. And I'll be pushed to, push you all to build your credibility, because that will help you to grow in your career journey. Extremely important for you to build your this thing, right?
I have a small question from the
Yes,
previous
Harsh.
slide.
Yes,
Right.
Harsh.
While I was in a college session, I took a session, and after the session, a student came up to me personally. He asked me, "Sir, there's only a single issue that I face. I'm not able to speak up. I'm not that confident to speak up. So that's the major problem that the students face, right? So how can they avoid this?"
See, they are not able to speak up. Did they find out the reason why they are not able to speak up? Is it they are holding themselves, or it's their idea? They are not convinced with their own idea. It could be two reasons, Harshit. They don't believe themselves, or they are not convinced with their idea. What is that? What's stopping them to speak?
So they were not. It might be that they were scared, right, of a big crowd, 300 to 400 students sitting over there, and they were not able to come up with their doubts at that moment. So he came up to me personally and he asked, "Sir, I am not able to let's say, speak up in these matters and put up questions so that I can understand better. So how can they do something to avoid the situation?
I recently met one of my team member to whom I interviewed, and they were like, it was a group interview where I got a chance to evaluate them, and there one person, not one person, two people were there who were not able to articulate their thought properly because they were scared. Now they have one choice. They have two choices: be scared and be stay behind. Don't show your credibility. Don't show, but that will take you to a way, to a path which you don't want to go, right? You don't want to see yourself at the backstage. You want the clarity of the questions you have in your mind. And for that, you need not have to be loud. If you're not able to ask this question among from the crowd of 400 or 300, whatever the crowd was, go ahead and see if you are able to find the stakeholder or the person with whom you can check these answers from the stage, or or from, if you can pull a a person out there from the room and speak on one-on-one basis. Don't, at least showcase, come up, right? You cannot ask question with the presence of 400 people. That's okay, that's all right, but don't stop yourself asking this question once you are there alone with the person, right? See, we all have personality traits, introvert, extrovert, we all have us, but it's all up to us. How do we want to take ourselves? If you're not asking questions, should be convinced by yourself these questions are right enough to ask. If they're right enough to ask, then go ahead and ask. Please don't stop yourself, please. That's the thing. That's what I can say, but yes, improvement is required on that. But yeah, I think someone has raised hand, Harshit. I noticed that someone has raised hand, some, I believe. Not sure.
As of now, there is no hand raised,
Okay.
but there might have been previously.
All right. Perfect. So in case there's any question, please stop me between the presentation and I'll be able to answer the question.
Okay, I'll surely do that.
Okay. Then we have, of course, like, you are joining through a GetWork, uh, this thing. You got this information about this session through GetWork, wherein we have a couple of certifications around. We have data science and AI certifications. We have healthcare with AI certification. I'm sure Harshit will give you more insights about this. But I believe these are the courses which are providing you with internship. Am I right, Harshit? You're on mute. We cannot hear you, Harshit.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
So I was saying ki we have two courses. One is the data science one, the other one is human resource management. The data science with AI course is an internship guarantee program, and the human resource management is a job guarantee program. So we have multiple things that we cover both, and we integrate these things with AI so that the students can get up to pace with what's actually happening around the market.
Right.
So if anyone is interested, you can reach out to me via LinkedIn or via email. You can contact me. I'll drop it in the chat box after the session.
Great, Harshit. That will be helpful for them. Of course, anybody who wants to upskill themselves, because upskilling is one of the most credible skill you can showcase out there in the world, because you have proved yourself through couple of tests, couple of workshops, couple of sessions, that you are qualified enough to take that role or take that conversation further with the stakeholders, right? So go ahead and take advantage of this whole thing. Yeah. All right. Then come with persuasion engine. uh Persuasion engine is basically is a technique that works with interview, that works with the leadership networking events as well. How do you take the person? How do you take the persuasion? Persuasion, sometimes people align it with manipulation. See, there's a very critical distinction between manipulation and persuasion. Manipulation exploits, persuasion aligns. When your interests, right, when your interest and other person interest genuinely overlap, during that time persuasion is simple, and it's able to create the transformation more conveniently, right? So see, when you have a reciprocity, we what there are 6 principles which build persuasion, right? I hope you might be aware of. Reciprocity: we give back what we receive. Commitment: what we align with the past statement, what statement we have made in the past, are we aligning on those? Third is, are we following the behavior what others are what others are showing? Social proof. Fourth is your authority, where you show yourself you are experts. Fifth is your liking. People usually say yes to you because they like you, and what you are holding right now is absolutely rare. These are 5 neurological triggers that build persuasion, right? Reciprocity and social proof are the most immediately applicable skill in networking and interviews. If you have understand that, because once you are able to attune yourself that you are matching the body language, you are speaking in a pace, vocabulary is getting registered in the listener brain, it automatically create the familiarity and the similarity, which is absolutely biological, you know uh, intuition towards your persuasion part, right? So you have to mirror and match in sales. In sales we have to mirror and match. I try to copy, because since I told you that I was part of India, I was part of America's time zone, I was part of Canada time zone, and of course Asia as well. These all continents, all 3 continents were altogether different, right? They all, I have to understand their body language, I have to understand their client language, I have to mirror them, then only I'll be able to be accepted and feel understood. So we have to have these things before we move ahead on the persuasion engine, right? And how you can be your personal brand, be unforgettable, how you can become unforgettable once you build your personal brand. That's how it is. The most common mistake, I should say, in student CV is basically, or LinkedIn profile, I should say, I am passionate, driven, result oriented team player. These words are actually overused, and they lost their meaning. They actually lost their meaning. Rather, I'm a strong communicator. Don't write that. Write with the evidence which build your personal brand, which makes you unforgettable, right? I presented to XYZ stakeholders of Fortune 500 companies and closed this deal. Or, I led this cross-functional team from Europe and America. If you say I'm a team player, no, don't say like that. I'm a team player. I'm a cross-functional team player who played the cross-functional role while achieving 128% YOY revenue growth. Show it with evidences, right? Because once you show it with evidences, it favors you liking also and on compliance also. That's how it is, right? And then you have to define your story. What problem do you solve? What difference you make? What do you do? All that sort of things will be aligned with your this thing, correct? So your career is a sales process, the roadmap, because this is how you prospect your your networking events, your your job through LinkedIn, through networking, through campus presence, you have an awareness in your head that I want to have this part of this journey, and how do I want to take this further on this progress, right? So this framework is changing, empowering. This framework is basically empowers you because you are the product. If you are the product, you have to have that interest, that consideration, intent, decision, that you are there to show yourself in a proper pitch, in offer negotiation, sales cycles. Everything can be learned, but you have to be showcase yourself as a product, right? You have to ensure that whatever the career trajectory you are right now is not going to impact your growth in any way. You're going to articulate your value. You will navigate your professional relationships strategically because you believe in your work, because you believe yourself is a product, right? So first is your this thing. How do you prospect? Find the right people who are going to hire you. Do you know anybody who is really know you professionally, can support your classroom journey or your studentship journey, whatever it is? Then update your LinkedIn profile. When they find you, they're interested you. Do your profile or CV on a second look. Then do a consideration, interview prep, and of course, then demonstrate value by showing an intent. Then of course, decision making, which is negotiation, and hired and promoted, right? So this is how it is. Then we have the whole slide is completely saturated in the 5 points. You have 7 seconds and use them intentionally, because this is how you will going to build your journey ahead, right? Till the time you don't have clarity, conviction, connection, influence will not be built. Connection, not the connection the ones you have to build with other connections, in how strongly you put your word across. Build that one-on-one intimacy level connections towards the journey on the learning level, right? And then you have demonstrate through evidence of track record what results are more credible. Voice them, track them, mention them, note them, and share them. Don't hide them. Don't put it across undercovers. Don't say that I see. If you are on the verge where you are not sharing your inputs with your stakeholders, with your leaders, you will be on the losing end. And I'm sure you don't want to do that. You don't want to be on losing end. You want to win every aspect of your life, and for that you have to speak up. Till the time you don't speak up, nobody will come to know what are you doing, how you did that, from where did you get this all information. You have to tell them, you have to put it across, because till the time you don't put it across, people will not understand that. It's critical for your own growth. Right now you can say I don't talk much, I'm quiet enough in the room. That will not help. This I got this one of the note from my manager. I made a mistake in an enterprise deal, right? That, and my manager told me it was like 48 million deal. My manager told me, Garima, you are at the learning pace. You are learning right now. At that point, I just entered in the enterprise space. At this time, you are at a safe space where you can make mistake. But once you learn, once you absorb the understanding of this enterprise business, you are not afford to make mistakes further in future. So please make mistakes, understand the concepts, understand the business properly before you move into depth. And that confidence has helped me to articulate my journey in such a strong manner when I moved from enterprise space to America space with the vision, with the clarity, with absolutely understanding of each aspect of the strategical business what Microsoft owns at that point of time. So if I was not able to articulate my mistake to my manager, it was a mistake. I should have hide that. I should have not told him, but it would have compounded multiple times and come up in front, because mistakes and these things are not never, you cannot hide them. But once you are doing good stuff, why do you want to hide those? Don't hide your good stuff. Showcase. People hide their mistakes. You need not have to hide your good stuff. Showcase your good stuff. Let the world know who are you. Why are you doing that? You hold that capacity. You hold that ownership. It is you who will succeed. It is you who will lead. Why do you want to do that? Don't. Don't do that with yourself. It's okay. Stay. It's okay to be uncomfortable sometimes. It's okay. At least for your own sake, you can be uncomfortable. When you know that you are doing good, you are doing wonderful. So let that journey of little uncomfortable stay there with you and grow. Grow on that. Right? So that's it. I'm done with my presentation. So that's how you got to know me. I started my journey with Microsoft with no connections, no referrals, and no shortcuts. I built it all. I learned it. I did my precise certification. I did my research work. Nobody told me to do that. No one. I did it for myself and I showcased it. Till the time you don't showcase your work, till the time you don't showcase what you believe, nobody will trust you. We do Instagram, right? We do social networking, right? We showcase our each and everything on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, whatever, Twitter, whatever. There are multiple channels out there, right? So when we showcase all that, why can't we showcase ourselves, the task we're doing in professional? Go ahead, win the world, and this world will be yours. Don't hide under covers. Never. I'm there on LinkedIn. Please follow me, Garima Nagpal. You can follow me. I'll share. I don't know if I can share this thing, but I'm sure Harshit can do that. So let me check with Harshit. Harshit, are you there?
Yes. So, firstly, I would like to thank Garima ma'am for delivering such an insightful session. So, you have got to learn many things from this session, from how your first impression matters to how you can communicate with confidence and how to persuade others. And it was literally brimming with insights. So, I genuinely thank you from behalf of all of the attendees as well as GetWork and AI Academy by GetWork for having such a wonderful session for us.
Thanks, Harshit. Thanks for hosting this. And thank you for having this session for the audience. I really love conversating with them and hope this will be helpful for them as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking forward to connecting with you in future.
Take care.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.